When you are lonely and the world is dark, when tears are flowing from your broken heart.
Alrighty, looks like we are live. So hello everyone on the Gavin Bar Homestead Instagram. I'll wait for a couple of you guys to join in and to check out what's happening. But for those of you that are watching this in the replay, my name is Josh Withers and I am a marriage celebrant. And I just travel around the world making marriage ceremonies that are really, really, really cool. So, hey to everyone that's joining. It's actually really cool to be live on an account that has followers. It's nice. I go live on my account and my mum joins. I go live on Gavin Bar and thousands of people join. That's really nice. So, while everyone's joining in, before I kind of start talking and taking Q&A, I thought everyone should know who I am and what I do. Like I said, my name is Josh Withers. I live on the Gold Coast. I'm actually right now, I'm a stone's throw from the New South Wales border down here at Kirra. And I've got my lovely wife, Britt, and my little beautiful girl daughter, Luna. You can check her out on my gram. I'm always posting photos of her. And I'm a celebrant. Plain and simple. I stand in front of marriage ceremonies and I make them amazing. I also MC receptions and I DJ a bit and that kind of thing. And I do some business coaching and all that. And all that doesn't really matter, but the big deal is that I make marriage ceremonies. I've been doing it for, it'll be 11 years almost now. 11 years in May. I feel like an old man. And I've been lucky enough to do, I'm going to say, probably at least 100 ceremonies at Gavin Bar. I haven't counted. I make it a rule. I don't really count ceremonies and I don't count people that have asked me to marry them. I don't really kind of do the log. Otherwise, I'll get really weirdly obsessed by that number. But yeah, I've been to Gavin Bar more times than any of you have. And there's a reason that whenever I always mention that it's my favourite venue. A, because I want to keep on going back, because it's my favourite venue. But secondly, because it actually is a really good venue. I attend wedding venues literally around the world. Through America, Iceland, Europe, New Zealand, Bali, right around Australia. And Gavin Bar Homestead would be the best venue I've ever worked at. And this isn't part of my talk. I'm just waiting for people to join and come and, once I've got more than one person watching, I'll kind of step out into what I'm hoping to talk about tonight. But and I didn't want to spend this whole thing kind of just blowing smoke towards Gavin Bar like they're really awesome. But if you've chosen Gavin Bar as your venue, then you're an absolute winner. It's just the staff are beautiful. It's just always so nice to turn up and actually be someone that works there. But also the couples that choose Gavin Bar, there's something about them. They're a certain kind of couple. They're really good. Mix all that into the fact that just between the grounds and the homestead and everything, it's a nice vibe. So yeah, that's why I love Gavin Bar. But a little bit of love face for my wife, Elopement Collective. Hey, Bretty. So tonight, I suppose this is as good a time as any to dive in and have a chat about what I was actually going to chat about. And what I was going to chat about today was wedding tradition, because no one's got any opinions on it and no one's ever written a blog post or done a video about it, so I thought I'd be the first. And I would be the guy that would actually come out and talk about not just being for or against wedding tradition, because honestly, it's a really simplified view of wedding tradition. It's actually a really weird thing to talk about, like James Day jumping on the feed and saying sexy beast. Weird thing to say, Jim. I'm not that sexy, like I'm a beast, but that's a whole other conversation. But wedding tradition, it doesn't, when you just say those words, wedding tradition, it just doesn't actually mean anything. And I'm going to get to that in a second, but I suppose wanted to open up with that thought, that saying that you're for wedding tradition or anti-wedding tradition, it's not as black and white as that. It's like with everything in life, somewhere in the middle. It's in the grey in the middle. I see a tradition is when you say people like us do things like this. For example, if you happen to be my wife or daughter, then you would know that a tradition in our household is that as regularly as possible, if possible, every morning and night. But, it doesn't always work out that way. That we would just head down the beach. We'd just go for a bit of a splash. It'd be lovely. Like we did this afternoon. We went down to Snapper Rocks. We had some dinner. And we just played around on the surf and the sand until the sun set. And that's a tradition that our family has. A tradition is when you say people like us do things like this. Traditional is when you say people like us in the past have done things like this. Both of those things are fine. It's it's actually a really nice way of identifying with who you are. You know, it's a way of finding your identity and your place in the universe, and you can feel comfortable and nice at this fact that people like you do things like this. When you do the thing, you feel like you're part of these people, which is actually kind of a really big part of the heart of having a wedding, is that you're creating a place for your people to come and to show they care. And one of the big problems at the moment, I'm recording this on, what is it, April something, 20, whatever it is, 3, April 24, because tomorrow is Anzac Day, that on April 24, 2020 in Australia, one of the ways we show we care is by hugging and high-fiving and shaking hands, and we can't do that. You know, social distancing regulations would say we can't and shouldn't do that. And which is one of the problems with having a wedding in these days. Even if you have the normal 5 people, minimal 5 people, it just hasn't got that place for showing that you care. So that's what sort of wedding is for, is when you say, all my people come and show me how much you care. And I care about you and you care about me, and we exchange care. And it's actually really beautiful for traditions to be followed there. Because, just say in your tradition, if you care about someone in your tradition, you punch them in the face. And you come to an Australian wedding, and you see me get married to Brit, and you go, this is great, and you walk up and you punch me in the face. I'm like, worst wedding guest ever. But in your tradition, you're saying, of course, that's how I show I care. And that's where traditions start falling apart, is when we steal other traditions from, say, other cultures, other faiths, other countries, and they actually don't mean anything to us and to our people, which is where you kind of start mixing with modern. When you start mixing with modern, you're saying, people like us today, we have this tradition. And it might even be brand new. It might have been fresh for you and your family. You might be saying to me and my partner today when we get married, this is a new tradition for us. Our family hasn't done it before. My father did not do this. My mother did not do this. My brother did not do this. But for us and our people here today, then we celebrate in this way. And that's a perfectly fine and a good tradition. But of course, when you start talking about traditions, there's obviously a long list, a long list of things that people would expect you to do. And this is part of the trouble with wedding traditions, is maybe you have idea 1 and maybe mum has idea 2, or whatever it might be. There's always a bit of a bridge there between traditional and tradition. And of course, I suppose you can mix into that word tradition, modern, because you're saying that today we do this like this. And honestly, I don't have the big answers on how to tell mum that you're not going to have dad walk you down the aisle, for example, or whatever the tradition might be. But I would just really hope and pray that you would be mature and strong enough to actually have a really good conversation with your parents about that, so that as you kind of walk down this line of planning a wedding, it is actually something that represents you and your partner. Tradition. That it wouldn't be something that represents the past. Traditional. That it would actually be fresh and meaningful to you, so that as your wedding happens, you are like, this is really good. I'm so glad I'm here. As opposed to, how many people have you met in the past that have just dreaded their wedding? That the whole event, they're just saying, I wish this would end quickly. Please let me get to the day after my wedding. That'll be the best day. And I don't know, I just think that's a really terrible way of blowing 30, 40, 50 grand. Like, if you want to blow 50 grand and hate it, just give it to me and I'll punch you in the face, and it'll be a much quicker experience. So I just wanted to, I suppose, pivot from that conversation, which is a very quick and important conversation, which I'll have 1,000 times over with people around the world, because it's something that I really want to try and encourage everyone to get involved in. But I wanted to pivot from that into talking about actual traditions. And then at the end of this, if there's any questions or anything like that, I'd love to do a bit of Q&A. So if you've got a question, please hold it, because I want to get into them. And like, Q&A is where I live. I love that kind of stuff. But I just I did a bit of a poll of my Instagram followers. If you don't follow me already, please do. I need the followers. Desperate. Hello at Josh Withers is me. At Hello Josh Withers. I'm not that desperate, I'm joking. But I did a poll of my followers about traditions they love and hate, and this is just a selection of those ones that a lot of us identify with positively or negatively. And I hope that as we kind of go through this list, I'm going to go through it quickly, it's not going to be this long drag, that if you hear of something that resonates with you, that you would kind of take that and you would put it in your pocket and you're like, that's how people like us, when I say us, I mean you and your partner, that's how people like us celebrate. That's how people like us show we care. That's how people like us commemorate valuable events in our life. Because that's what you're doing. That at your wedding, you're drawing a line in the sand and you're saying, people like us commemorate and celebrate and care like this. So, most popular one was the old day of the week. I know Britt and I had this. We got married on a Friday 8 years ago. And there were people that wouldn't take the day off work to come to our wedding on a Friday. And that is what it is. But I would let you know that particularly through these coronavirus weird times, that there are 7 valid and beautiful days of the week where you can get married. And your marriage is no lesser. Your celebration is no less valuable. Dare I say, it's actually a little bit more valuable. And dare I say, your bank balance might be a little bit more blessed if you pull away from the Saturday. Friday, Sunday is the very easy ones. Like Friday, Sunday is like, that's like doing 65 in a 60 zone. That's like just a little bit out of the zone. But if you're going to go crazy, you're going to go special, do that Tuesday. That'd be beautiful. Hey, if you want to go really crazy, Tuesday morning. So, day of the week. You can do any day of the week. The reason that we get married on Saturdays is because that's traditionally when we had days off. But, for example, if you're a friend of mine right now, I'm like, I have got the next, God knows however many months off until social distancing is off, because literally my whole career is involved in people greeting and meeting. So day of the week doesn't matter. We talk about time and day a lot as well. My encouragement with the time and day for your ceremony is to drop the 3 p.m. that everyone apparently just has to get married at, and to actually look at what kind of day it would be if you got married at 3 p.m. For example, today the sun set at around 5:20 or 5:30. 3 p.m. would be a great time for a ceremony. But if you're getting married in the depth of January, 3 p.m. is literally like 6 hours before sunset. So maybe have a think about what time of the day you would get married and think about what it would feel like. Will it be too hot? That kind of thing. But let's get into some real ones. This is the real traditional element. And I thought I'd go Aussie real quick. We're talking about acknowledgement of country or a smoking ceremony. So there's elements of these deeply meaningful cultural elements of different cultures that become cultural appropriation, where you're just doing it because you think it looks cool, like wearing an Indian hat. Cultural appropriation. So no do these kind of Aboriginal, First Nation Australian cultural traditional elements because they're cool or whatever, but because they mean something to you. And a smoking ceremony, and especially an acknowledgement of the country, is a beautifully great tradition to grab a hold of when it comes to getting married. Another one, I don't know what this means, but I would hope that you would know that you're welcome to do whatever you want with it, or you can just drop it, because it doesn't really mean anything. It's not something that I've really seen implemented at a wedding, but it's the old something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. It's just a cool rhyme. If that kind of means something to you, then roll with it. But also know you don't have to have something blue at your wedding. It's kind of a bit weird to do that, because often it's just a token piece, which actually lacks any meaning and purpose. So it kind of is weird, isn't it? Anyway. I thought this was a big one. I get this almost every single wedding, and I love, I actually love screwing with people with it because they hate me for it. They'll say, the bride, she's got to stand on the left-hand side, because from the traditional element, remember not the tradition, but the traditional element, is that the bride and groom would hold hands with their left hands, and his right hand will be free to grab his sword and to attack anyone that would be attacking the ceremony. Now, hopefully that's not happening at your wedding, which is a bit of a weird element to kind of include. You guys, obviously, someone has to be on the left and someone has to be on the right, but it just doesn't matter. If one of you's got a hotter side, if you're hot on the left, roll with that. But you don't have to stand on a particular side, and that's not going to affect how you get married or how valuable or good your marriage is anyway. The other one, this is a big one. if you want to really annoy someone, then bring up doing the opposite of whatever they think this is. It's the walking in the aisle. And this is even really close to home for Britt and I. When we got married 8 years ago, I stood at the end of the aisle, and Britt's dad walked her down the aisle to me, and that was beautiful, and it was lovely. And you know what? If we were going to do it again today, I'd definitely do it again. It meant a lot to Britt and to her dad. They were extremely close. We lost him a few years ago, and I wouldn't take that away from him or her. But I know when it comes to Luna, I'm not specifically wed to the idea of me taking her down the aisle. If in the 20 odd years that it might be until she gets married or whatever that looks like, that if her and I were at a place where that was really important to her, then I would most certainly take that honour. But I want you to know that it's so very valid to either A, just walk yourself down the aisle, or can I suggest to you the most traditional version of this? If you look at the original Catholic Church weddings, they would walk down the aisle together, like equals, walking into your ceremony together. Honestly, there's complete equality and beauty in that. That it isn't one person walking to the other, but it's the two of you walking in together, saying, we are in this together. I think there's a lot of symbolism in that. But when it comes to you and choosing what you want to do for your wedding, know that not one of the options is right, except for the one that just resonates with your worldview and your beliefs, that as you walk down the aisle, that it would just mean something to you. There's so many things here. I didn't want to talk all night long, but I want to go through a few of them. Saying I do at your wedding. Wow. If you've ever been to one of my marriage ceremonies, you would see that I probably don't get people to say I do, because in an Australian legal civil marriage ceremony, you don't need to say the words I do. They actually don't have any value. So if they mean something to you, then we'll do them. But please don't do them because you think you have to, because you don't have to. In fact, if you do them, it kind of makes the thing you do have to do duplicated weirdly. It's a bit awkward. I find it weird anyway. That's just me. Good old Queen Victoria's white or light coloured dress. I want you to know that you can wear whatever coloured dress you want, but you would just wear a dress that makes you feel hot, or that you would wear a dress that makes you feel beautiful. That the purpose of the dress isn't to be white, but the purpose of the dress is that you would wear it, and as you wear it, you would just have the spirit fall on you, that it would make you feel so beautiful and so awesome. So that's the purpose of the dress. Same thing with the suit. So you don't have to wear black suit, anything like that. You just have to wear a suit. You have to wear clothes that when you put them on, you're like, oh, bam, I'm here, boys. That would be the whole thing with the suit. This one got a few Instagram comments today. Not seeing each other before the ceremony. There were people who thought it was disgusting, and there were people that thought it was beautiful. And you know what? You've just got to find your own path through that. That seeing each other before the ceremony or not wouldn't be a thing that you're necessarily wed to. But it might be really beautiful. I know that Britt and I have been on a date before, and she's going to get ready, and I'm just kind of coming to the bedroom to say hi. She's like, no, go out. I want to kind of present myself to you. And that was really important to her. When she came in, she was beautiful. I thought, that's lovely. I'm really glad I saw that. So it might be that kind of element. Or it might be you get ready together, and that's also beautiful. You know what? You're kind of picking up the vibe here that you can choose whatever you want. And it's true. You can choose whatever you want. Whether it's cutting the cake, not having a cake. I don't know. I actually find cutting the cake to be the second weirdest thing at a wedding reception. The most weird thing I see is the throwing the bouquet and the throwing the garter. I know it's like beautiful. We see it in movies. As a person whose job is to make that happen, it's awkward. I'm not gonna lie. It's weird. I see single girls getting dragged up for the catching the bouquet, and there's like only one single girl, and it's weird. Like my heart breaks for that girl. Or I see guys getting the garter thrown at them, and it's not cute. It's actually kind of awkward. So, you know what? Do what you like with all these things. But it isn't about being traditional or being not traditional. It's about being you. And that as you plan your wedding, as you make decisions about celebrants, photographer, venue, things you're going to do, things you're not going to do, that would all just be reflecting the fact that people like us do things like this. So that brings me to the end of what I wanted to say today. Please, if you're on Instagram, then jump into the comments, leave some comments here. I would really love to engage with anything you've got to say, any ideas, if I haven't covered something, if you think I'm a loser, whatever it might be. Jump in the comments and I'll address that. I'm not going to stay on for much longer because I didn't want to spend all night with you guys. I want to go spend some time with my wife. But yeah, if there's anything you guys want to ask me, please jump in the comments of the Instagram live right now and holla hi. And I'm just going to do a bit of a scroll through the comments here because I've seen a few of them, but I haven't really caught any of them. Oh, Elopement Collective, you got a girlfriend? I do, Brady. I do. Hey, bub. Look, no one's dropping anything in, which is fine. You know, you don't really. There's not really some deep questions to any of that. But yeah, I hope I've been really helpful for you guys tonight. I'll wrap up with a few thoughts on what to do from here. If you're planning a wedding around coronavirus COVID-19, please know that there's a whole wedding industry that is just literally doing zilch right now, waiting for weddings to start up again. So there's never been a better time to actually plan a wedding. We're all available for Skypes and Zooms and, you know, FaceTimes. We're sitting here waiting for your emails. If you'd like me to be a celebrant, I can tell you that my calendar is really loose when it's loose, and when it's tight. There's no really right questions apart from saying, are you available? So you can jump onto my website, joshwithers.com.au, and check out who I am and my prices and that kind of thing. I'm on social media at Hello Josh Withers on Instagram and Facebook. Yeah, I'm here just doing the Live for Gavin bar. Well, thanks, Liam. Nice live stream with you too, buddy. Me and 3 Creations asks, am I based in Toowoomba? No, actually, I live on the Gold Coast. So, you know, Toowoomba's a short drive around. I find most weekends... I actually haven't done a Gold Coast wedding in, probably over a year. I do more weddings in Iceland than I do on the Gold Coast. So Toowoomba's not that far. Brody asks, thoughts on paying for themselves. Yeah, you know what? I actually got into a fight with a videographer in... where were we? We were in... I think New Zealand recently. We're in Queenstown, and she brought up that she went to a wedding where guests had to pay for themselves, and I'm like, I am here for that. Like, that is my jam, because I think that if you are privileged and blessed and lucky enough to be in a position where you can get all of your friends and fam, put them in the room, pay for a good dinner, and, you know, drinks and whatnot. And if you can afford to pay for that, do that. Like, that is a super privileged position. Like, right now, I would pay any amount of money to have all my friends at dinner with me. Like, that would be lovely. But not all of us are that privileged. And I would always tell you that you shouldn't let a wedding get in the way of you being married. That your wedding should kind of balloon to the size that you and your life and your culture and your people can kind of live at. So if you can afford, like emotionally and financially, if you can afford to host everyone, then do it. But if you can't, I would much more encourage you to proceed into marriage and then proceed into a wedding. And particularly if that means that, well, I want to have 100 people, so it's going to cost big number. Thus, we're not going to get married for 5 years. I would say find a middle ground. That either means you don't have all those guests, or you don't share them dinner, or whatever it might be. Or you get them to pay for themselves, which is a perfectly fine thing. Like, anytime I dine elsewhere, if I've got to go to dinner anywhere, I've got to pay. I'm not getting a free meal anywhere. So I'm okay with guests paying for themselves. Yes, it's a different kind of dynamic, but I think that it would just be reflective of where we're all at. Like, particularly, post-COVID-19, post-coronavirus, I would imagine that would be a little bit more common because, heck, it's expensive. Poppies for Willow. Hey, guys. Your advice for couples when writing their vows. You know what? It's actually, I can talk about vows until Kingdom Come, but I'll give it to you real quickly. Good vows are vows that can't be recycled. Good vows are vows that when you exchange them, that there's actually an exchange of value and care and love, that as the other person hears them, they receive those words and they will just know that they are loved. That it's not for show, it's not for everyone else, it's not for the crowd or anything like that. It's just for the other it's for the other person to know that they are loved. That with your vows, you are literally breathing your marriage into life. So that's that. Mirror, mirror, hey legends, what's the wildest, craziest, funniest wedding marriage you've been a part of? Oh gosh, so many. So I'll tell you a few. I'll tell you funniest. Funniest would be this kind of like carnival thing, the wedding I did a little while ago, where we were dressed. Gosh, I had this flamingo suit on. It was just a ball. Wildest would be Iceland last October. It was below zero and raining. And God, like wow, Iceland is amazing. Craziest would be when the groom punched his father because of family stuff going on in the night. Nuts. But yeah, I'd be honest to tell you that more people just have normal, nice, dare I say, not boring, but kind of not extraordinarily weird weddings. It's much more normal just to have just a cool and a fine wedding. That's much more the norm. If there's any more questions, pop them in. Otherwise, I'll wrap up and let you guys enjoy your Friday night. I hope everyone's having a ball in coronavirus land and everyone's staying safe and staying happy. And please know that, like, my whole thing is I just love to talk weddings, planning weddings. If you're watching this and you're like, oh, I don't want to get in the comments, know that you can email me, hello@joshwithers.com.au, or send me a DM. My social media once more is @hello_joshwithers. And I would love to be a person that could help you actually have a wedding that matters. That's my thing. So if there's no more questions, one more, hello. What do you look for in an MC? Is this something that you can hire someone to do, or is it best to be a friend? Yeah. Look, I'm a professional public speaker. It's what I do. So I've very rarely seen your brother / uncle, auntie, MC be any good. Because I think people have got different views on what an MC has to be. Like, an MC, in my opinion, isn't a performer. They're not like an entertainment piece of the night, but they're more like a captain steering the ship. And some of that happens on microphone. A lot of it happens off microphone, which is kind of where your brother, uncle, MC falls apart. They actually don't know that it's their responsibility to actually make the whole night really, really, really cool. And a lot of that happens off the microphone. It happens by talking to people and getting to know people and realizing that Uncle Jim's a bit nuts and he's gonna need some help later, or talking to the band and saying, hey, after this we're gonna do this, and just communicating with everyone, or letting the photographers and the videographers know that, hey guys, we're about to do speeches, and even just through speeches. I was a guest at a reception once, and it was beautiful to be there. And the friend that was the MC did one speech. Then he goes, we'll come up for another speech in 5 minutes. So every 5-10 minutes, he would have to get everyone's attention, he'd have to ask everyone to shut up and then do another speech. I'm like, you're a terrible MC. No one cares what you have to say. So, they obviously do care enough to be there, but to keep on breaking into everyone's conversation, it'd be like this: if someone was just saying, hey Josh, and I would have to go to them right now, that would suck. So, what do I look for an MC? Just someone that actually knows how to bloody well MC. That's me. And I'm going to say most people don't. So, you know what? That's okay. And I know that obviously I'm available for hire for that, so maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I think that's a thing. Thanks, guys. Such an honour to be here on the live with you tonight. Thanks to Gavin Bar, Carly and the crew. Just honestly, I've never met a terrible person at Gavin Bar. The whole team from top to bottom are just good, beautiful people. They look after you. So it's been an honour to be on here on the Graham. And quick question from Brooke. How many people bring the doggos to the ceremony? Yeah, a lot. It's good. Doggos are part of the fam. Bring them along. One last shout out. Hello, Josh Withers on my social. joshwithers.com.au is my website. This has been Gavin Bar's Instagram Live with me talking about wedding tradition and whatnot. I hope you have an amazing Friday night. See you all soon.